readily acknowledge, and I've been reading a lot of young adult novel films recently, and it's not really intentional. We don't watch highly rated books just to get people mad or stir up controversy. It's just the fact that the film industry is in a really bad place right now, and possibly will be in an even worse place if the trailer for Divergent Part 3 is any indication. Making films based on young adult novels isn't a priority, but making cash grabs on the sequels and making the final chapter of Part 1 and Part 2 on both of the movies most certainly is. I like in the situation how the young adult novel movies have changed their formula from godlike to backrap. Oh, you expect people to walk out of the theater and demand a refund, but then there are those people who collect posters of their favorite heroine based on their favorite book that they read, and even will buy the books that the movie was based on, and even the Blu-rays. They will watch the movies and like it, and the company who makes the mediocre movies knows this. When that happens, you end up with seismic scale crap piles like Twilight or Divergent, or the Hunger Games franchise. In short, if Maze Runner Scorch Trials was a bad movie, I would tell you. But it isn't. The Hunger Games franchise was a bad movie, that's why I told you it was bad. Sure, it's nice to see the screenwriters and other writers over there try to think of an idea of what kind of variation Katniss would like to use for her arrows. But how's about putting some of that effort in creating a setting, story, and characters that don't make me want to crush a puppy's skull? But Maze Runner Scorch Trials, honestly? It's not a bad movie. I'm not calling it movie of the year, mind you. This film is swimming in an ocean full of tired young adult novel cliches without any floaties, and that is a bad thing. But this go around, the film tries to shed a new light into the genre and make it actually relevant and pretty cool. Now, I said this isn't a bad film, but is it worth watching? That is the question we're likely to answer, so let's dive right into this movie. So in Maze Runner The Scorch Trials, the movie starts where the last movie left off. Thomas and his friends get out of the maze, they realize that there's a disease called the flare, and they end up getting saved by a group of survivors that basically take him to a safe haven of some sort. But after a few stays at that safe haven they were in, they are getting captured by a group that we call, and it's in the book, and it's in the movie, and I kid you not, Wicked. And Thomas and his friends not only have to survive in the Scorch, get away from Wicked, and basically get away from these Scorch-ridden zombies, but they have to find out who is behind Wicked so they can destroy them once and for all. Genuinely, I can say that there are good performances in this movie. Dylan O'Brien is good with this movie, and the rest of the cast of teenagers, they're also really good. And the characters at the first movie that you saw actually really develop at points, and you actually care for each other. And they actually grow and have a relationship, because, you know, they're best friends. They try to get out of there alive together. That being said, the other characters in this movie kind of had the same symptoms when I watched the first Maze Runner. Because in the first Maze Runner, you had characters that you cared about, including the other side characters, and including the main character. Some characters, and I'm saying like one or two, aren't really developed well. It's not the problem that they are developed at all, it's just that they're not developed enough. There are some characters that they meet in the facility, and they go along their journey, and they don't get a lot of screen time because they're not developed that well. I don't know, maybe it's because of the script, but oh my god. Of course, people say that this is a generic plot, but it's not as generic as most films that we see. First of all, a group of survivors trying to get to a safe haven, yeah, that's kind of generic. Them trying to overpowering a safe government, yeah, that's kind of generic also. But the fact is that Maze Runner also tries to attempt in putting in something new that we never seen in young adult films. For example, the post-apocalyptic setting looks beautiful. The post-apocalyptic setting looks like Day After Tomorrow if it was attacked by the sandstorm in Mad Max Fury Road. But still, nonetheless, it looks beautiful to look at. And the action scenes are really tense and really good at parts, especially when the ones where they face off against the zombies, because those are one of the best scenes in the movie. And yes, this film drags on to the point where you're like, okay, let's get to Thomas and the other survivors. All it comes down to is this. Maze Runner 1 and 2 are basically the most competent young adult films I think I've seen all year. This film desperately tries to keep you entertained, and it does at parts. And the performances are really good, the action scenes are really great, the post-apocalyptic Mad Max Day After Tomorrow version looks really incredible. Some of the characters develop, some of the characters don't. It does have a generic plot, and some of the pacing problems drag on a little bit. As basically what I'm saying is that I'm gonna give Maze Runner Scorch Trials a 3 out of 5. Alright guys, that is my review of Maze Runner, The Scorch Trials. Comment below, let me know what you thought about the movie. Find me on Facebook, Google+, or private message me on YouTube if you feel like it. My name is Luke Nukem, and you have been blown away.